So we had an update on the offseason for the Miami Dolphins, and it involves a lot of cleaning. Some house cleaning, that is, because Tyreek Hill's gone. That's a wrap for his tenure with the Miami Dolphins. Bradley Chubb, he's also gone. There were some other offensive linemen, James Daniels. He was also released as well, too. But nonetheless, they are clearly, there's a direction the Dolphins are headed, and the Miami Dolphins have decided it's best we just move on. The biggest name of the bunch, other than Bradley Chubb, obviously Tyreek Hill, who is still recovering from the injury he suffered last year. So who knows what his future looks like. I would say this. I get the direction. Hard to argue, though, with the production of Tyreek Hill those first couple of years with Miami. He was fantastic. It just...
You could make the same case for Bradley Chubb when he first got there. Double-digit sack guy. Both, though, got hurt, and I think they saw kind of a downward tick in production after that point. Although, there's other, factors that play a role. I mean, clearly Tua Tagovailoa as well. I think the other question is, there's two thoughts for me. The first is, whenever players are pushing to get more money and they have to go through that ugly PR battle or the way they have to go about it where fans get on them, please stop. Stop getting on players for getting more money. Because here's how I see all this. They're moving on from these players not because they're capable of starting, playing, or being good players. You're talking about both Tyreek Hill and Bradley Chubb, who are Pro Bowl caliber players. James Daniels is a good player. Nick Westbrook pitches in on special teams and plays wide receiver and fills in at times too in a somewhat of an important role. All these guys are capable of playing. This comes down to a new general manager who wants to save money. They're not his guys. He didn't sign them. So you could be doing your job, and just because there's a new executive involved, you're out. Because he doesn't see the value in you the same way the other guy did, who was Chris Greer. So I hope fans will not get after these guys when they try to, hold out for more money, or they're, asking for a trade because the team they're with doesn't want to give them the contract they want. Just stop. Because a lot of times there's things out of your control where a guy gets hired and you get clipped or you get sent somewhere else purely because you're not his guy. The next question or thought is this just expected now? Every time we get a new general manager, and like John Eric Sullivan in this case, are we just expecting that he's going to move on from any guys that have a high cap figure that next year? I mean, Tua could be the very next one on the chopping block, and we don't know what they're going to do because they've already paid him $54 million for this upcoming season. But is that the expectation now?
Yes. Yes, it is. And I think it's the expectation based around the amount of time you get. And for me, I'm looking at it from the perspective of, one, what am I walking into? If I'm coming in as a new general manager, what am I walking into? What is the scenario? Let me get a lay of the land. And I honestly wonder, are you able to garner enough information before making the decision? Because here's the thing. Are some of these players that you would potentially keep? Yes. But if it comes down to the idea of I'm coming in as a new general manager, and as you mentioned, none of these guys, unless they were with me before, are my guys, and I have a job to do, and I know I have 1 to 2 years to make a difference, to impact this roster and impact this franchise in a way where, hell, the standard is the standard anymore. You got to become a playoff team. You got to make it to the Super Bowl. These are the standards and expectations of a GM and of a head coach. I am going to make whatever decisions based off of the information that I have. If I am allowed as a GM to come in and say, if I need to clean it out, I'm allowed to clean it out. If you're telling me I have to come in and these are the guys that I have to use, I have to play nice with, I got to make my decision based off of that. If I'm a GM, can I win with Tua moving forward? Can I win with Tyreek Hill moving forward? Can I win with Chubb moving forward? I'm not confident looking at what they have been as of recent, and I'm going to try to figure out what type of team I'm going to put together with the coach that I've brought in or I'm a part of coming in to see if we can win.
I would proceed with caution based on what we've seen with the Dolphins because they're a worse team today without these guys than they were yesterday, which, look, if you're going to rebuild, I totally get it. Like, this is part of the process. But it's also the same organization who fired their GM in season and then at least had some sort of a conversation with their then head coach at the time, Mike McDaniel, in saying, yes, it's okay to bench Tua and to put in somebody else. Even though you're going to be a worse team, it's okay to make that move. We trust you. He had the understanding that, all right, well, then apparently I have the okay to do this. Everything's going to be fine. I'll make this move, try it out with a younger quarterback, and we'll play this out in the offseason. And then ultimately it cost him his job. If you could go back in time, you would have told Mike McDaniel, hey, man, you might get fired. You don't win a couple of more games. All right, then I'm going to start Tua because he's our best quarterback. And I just hope, whatever this new regime is, that they've got the understanding that you mentioned, hey, you're going to be a worse team initially, but there's a plan. Don't feel rushed. Don't feel like you're going to be out in 2-3 years. We know it's a win now. You have results immediately, but we know where you're at and where this organization is headed, but we've got to make these moves to save money. That's my only thing, because there's a lot of times where it feels like maybe there's a plan, GMs, coaches take over new jobs. There's a feeling that, all right, I'm going to have some time to turn this thing around. And all of a sudden you've got 3 wins in week 17 in your first year. And the ownership's looking at you going, hey man, what's with the results? Like, dude, we just cut Pro Bowl players, multiple players in the offseason to rebuild. Can I have some time? And I just wonder how many organizations actually have that patience with these guys.
And I asked this question because I wonder how many they don't look at and say we could restructure. I mean, they saved $23 million worth of cap space for 2026, potentially $30 million depending on the timing of Bradley Chubb's release. As it could be start of the new league year, March 11th, or it could be after June 1. So it could vary. But why not try to restructure some of these? Why not try to essentially say to them, look, we can release you now, or we can restructure and kind of make it a 1-year prove-it deal. And maybe they did. Maybe John Eric Sullivan went to them and said, this is what we're thinking. We want you guys to prove it again, and we'll gladly pay you, but we want to restructure this thing. We'll basically make this year guaranteed for you. And, depending on how it goes, we'll then look at signing you to an extension or not. And maybe they said, no, we don't want to do that. We'd rather be a free agent, sign a longer-term deal. So those are some of the conversations that start to take place this time of year. But to your point, Jonas, I look at this Dolphins team and say the Jets are a mess. The Bills are, I don't know what you'd call them, because Joe Brady is a head coach. He's not like truly rebuilding again, right? He was their OC, but there are some questions as to what that's going to look like. The Patriots just went to the Super Bowl, so they're building off of what they, just had. I don't know where this puts you in the division. I think if anything, it puts you maybe closer to the Jets than anything else. And so I would rather, try to keep guys that I know are quality players, that I know, came to Miami with the intention of winning. Granted, yes, both cashed in Tyreek Hill and Bradley Chubb, but finding a way of keeping some of these veteran guys. That cap savings they just talked about, they're going to spend. Like, just throw that onto the tab for whatever a new general manager is going to bring in, so they don't face the demise of that first year, calling it a rebuilding year and only winning 3, 4, 5 games.
All I know is there is a trend of having immediate success going on in the National Football League. We saw it with the Bears this year. We saw it with the New England Patriots are the biggest example of you can go into free agency and build a team. Now, granted, they have a quarterback, but, he wasn't a factor in the Super Bowl. I'll say he's a young guy that has a ton of potential, but it was the core nucleus of guys that was the reason why this New England Patriots team made it as far as they did, and in particular, their defense. That team was built through Elliott Wolf and Mike Vrabel, a collaborative effort, and they put together a bunch of guys that came in and fit the mold. Again, the standard has now become the standard. If you're coming in, you have to assume that the people who have hired you have the expectation of you coming in and having similar results. And whether that's realistic or not, it doesn't matter, because we're going to keep hiring and firing until we get them. And that seems to be the new.
It's kind of crazy.
That's
man.
the new norm.
It's kind of crazy.
Well, and that's why when Brady said, "Get your money," and if you want, listen, I'm to the point now where it used to be a debate about money. It used to be a debate. There's no debate about money. If a player gets a big contract, he got a big contract. If a coach gets a big contract, he got a big contract. If a GM got a big contract, he got a big contract. He could be here today, gone tomorrow. And if that's your job, if you work in a volatile job industry like that, and who knows if you ever get back to that position as a GM or as a head coach, you could be mad all you want if that man boasts a $11 million year contract or a $100 million contract as a coach and just got fired. You could be mad all you want. But the bottom line is that man is not guaranteed a next game, let alone a next season. So it is, get it while you can get it. And that's sad, because in a way, that is now what you're forcing guys to have as a mentality. Get it while you can get it. At the least, you're going to guarantee my contract as a GM, as a player, as a coach. You're going to guarantee my contract for X amount of years or for X amount of dollars, because the bottom line is that you're not giving me very much time to have an impact on your company, on your business. So make it guaranteed, and I'll come in.